Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those that want to be entertained, it is the 22nd of October, and Trump wants to entertain us. Do you want to be entertained? You're going to be entertained. Another day, another dozen or so Trumpisms. That's the standard these days. Gosh, where do we start? Where do we start? All right, Trump may be attacking Colombia next. Oh, he's already sunk at least one Colombian boat, where the Colombian government said the people on boat were fishermen. Then Trump said, "Well, you're communist leftist government," and voila! Another Trump groupie like Machada, also a woman, appears in Colombia saying, "Hey, free us, and we'll give everything over to you, Mr. Trump, and your corporations." You can't make this stuff up. I mean, seriously, you cannot make this stuff up. But yep, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Um. So Poland makes a veiled threat against the life of Vladimir Vladimirovich that if he flies into Hungary, they can't guarantee his safety as his plane will be flying over Poland. They may try to shoot him down. That's how Poland. That's the game Poland plays. Of course, what they seem to forget is there's always going to be payback. Anything like that in Poland is going to cease to exist, more than likely. Especially considering the people that will take over are going to be in a very vengeful mood. But we don't have to worry about it because it looks like there won't be a meeting in Hungary between Putin and Trump. And why won't there be a meeting between Putin and Trump? Because apparently Trump has come to the decision that there's no point in having a meeting after Lavrov and neocon Rubio had a talk. That there's nothing that can be, no deal can be made. Of course, why can no deal be made? You got to take the next step. It's the fishbone diagram where you go, what's the issue? The issue is here, and then you go the next. Well, what's causing the issue, and then what's the next causing the issue, and we just go down there till we get to the bottom of this. So, what's causing the issue? What's causing the issue is Trump and those that surround Trump. Because Trump went, okay, it's Trump. Do you actually expect this man to stay on plot? He goes to whatever plot is handed to him at the end of the day, or the next person after that hands it in the middle of the night. So he had his meeting with Putin. He goes over Mr. Narcissism himself gets praised, and he goes over, okay, yeah, we need to have peace talks. The call ends. He gets worked over by, granted, Zelensky didn't do too good of a job working him over, but the neocons around him sure did. He gets worked over by the neocons, and he is back to a 12-point plan, including freezing the front line, creating the U.S. would make a peace board, whatever the hell that means. Then negotiations will begin and go on for forever while they're rearming Ukraine, of course, for the next round of combat. And Russia gives up all initiative. Oh, and Russia may get some sanction relief. Not that really Russia gives a damn about American sanctions or European sanctions, which will never come off until the European Union dies, the death that it more than deserves, the gulag of nations, the EUSSR. Actually, the EUSSR has the worst of everything of the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, and whatever modern technocratic crap they can come up with. All the worst of it. They didn't take any good ideas of anybody. They just took all the bad ideas, they put them in there, and then they put a bunch of insufferable bitches to run it, to make it even worse and more painful. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, Orwell didn't even come close to what all of this is turning into. He was like the reception room. That's as far as he got on a lot of this. It's only going to get worse for you folks stuck under this. So part of this 12-point plan is Russia would have to pay for at least some of rebuilding Ukraine. Okay, so let's look at this realistically. I am winning this fight. And I'm going to go, let's stop. You're my enemy. I'm going to leave you in power. I'm going to have no control over how you get rearmed. And I'm going to give you money for what I damaged while we were fighting a war. Has said no nation that was winning ever. And this isn't going to get anywhere with Russia. Lavrov flat out told Cocaine Rubio that no, this ain't flying. Sorry, buddy, not going to fly. Go play with Venezuela and Colombia. And whomever else you want to invade, and I guess Panama, while we're at it, go right up the whole isthmus, and then right up Central America to the Mexican border, the northern Mexican border. So, yeah, so basically that's Trump's new old plan. Kellogg must have talked to him again, and they had a 20-point plan. Now it's on a 12-point plan, which is basically they took the most succulent bullshit parts and they made that into the 12-point plan and cut out some of the flab on the sides. And of course, Russia said, no, not gonna happen. Sorry, go pound sand. So the meeting's off. Big surprise. The thing is they're losing. Ukraine's collapse is accelerating. Pokrovsk, half of Pokrovsk is in Russian hands, the southern and western portion, and a southern eastern portion is falling into Russian hands. Mirograd to the west is being invested right now. So Ukrainians in south of Mirograd and east of Pokrovsk and in eastern Pokrovsk pretty much have the choice of dropping their gear because the rainy season's already there, and making a run for it. And we'll see how many we sent to burn with Bandera, or surrendering. They can stay and fight to the end. I mean, they will be exterminated. But that portion is gone. It's gone. And as soon as they start running, because they're going to be in confusion, and they're possibly already running right now in mass as I speak and as I record this, that's going to create even more confusion toward the north, which opens up new opportunities to continue moving inwards and upwards into northern Pokrovsk, Krasnoarmeysk. So at least the southern half of Pokrovsk, I think that southern sub-cauldron is going to close probably in the next 2 to 3 days. Maybe sooner, maybe a little bit later. It's always hard to tell. But I think it's pretty much done. It's only a matter of how fast everything breaks. If it doesn't break, they'll just be vacuumed up as the front closes in around them. I think they'll run. But the problem is northern Pokrovsk is still inside a cauldron. Granted, it's not quite as closed as southern Pokrovsk, southeastern Pokrovsk, south of Mirograd, but the ways in and out are cut and controlled by direct fire weapon systems, swept by artillery, and drones. And we're talking thousands of Ukrainian troops in that area. Kupiansk looks like it's done. And there was even some amount, though it's hard to tell how many. It maybe just be a diversion, reconnaissance, and sabotage groups that have broken into Krasny Liman. So that's big problem for Ukraine, because once Krasny Liman falls, then you've got open range on Slavinsk and Kramatorsk from high ground, and looks like it's happening a lot faster than was considered. Then you've got, I haven't reported on this, I haven't talked about this because it was very iffy news for quite a while, for the last 3 days, that Russian forces have crossed the Dnieper just north of Kherson and taken an industrial area and some housing under their control. Whether or not this has actually happened, I can't fully say. Now, the governorship of Kherson, the Russian governorship, has mentioned that this is happening right now. So from that, I will mention it now. But what would this mean? Because obviously this is not a major invasion. This isn't a force big enough to take all of Kherson, um, even with the weakened garrisons that are there. But it is a threat. Now, if they get dug in really well, there's nothing that stops a pontoon boat, pontoon bridge from appearing. Granted, it would be a magnet for attacks, of course, artillery attacks, drones primarily, and things like that. Not that Russia wouldn't be trying to defend it with its drones, counter drones, and other systems. But once a pontoon boat is in effect and heavy armor can be moved in, then you've got a whole different issue. So the Ukrainians have to act fast. Thing is the forces they have left around Kherson can't act fast because they're not adequate. There's very little strength left, which is why Russian forces were able to grab a large industrial neighborhood in the suburbs. Where they go from there, we're going to have to live and see. But what this is going to do is it's going to force Ukraine, unless it wants to risk Kherson falling, because the situation will only deteriorate once the Russian forces realize that they are not getting counterattacked. They're going to start bringing in a lot more. Their job is actually to be a magnet for counterattacks. Because what's happening now, that force isn't big enough to really threaten Kherson yet. But the possibility is there. And the Ukrainians are going to have to do something about it. The closest forces to do something about it right now are in Zaporozhye, the city of Zaporozhye, and the city of Arachava, which is southeast of Zaporozhye. Now there's a three-front Zaporozhian offensive going on right now. Up the Dnieper toward Zaporozhye itself, there's been a breakthrough that has closed half the distance to Arachava, the southeast of it. And then there's a three-prong offensive that's on and off in eastern Zaporozhye that hasn't been liberated yet. So Ukrainians are pretty tight. They've been pulling reserves from every which way direction to try to stop these. Now they've got the problem of the horns of a dilemma. You know, we can keep these here, and we're slowing the Russian advance, maybe even going to wind up stopping it, but then we lose Kherson. Or we have to go save Kherson, which is going to be a huge ego damage, spit in the eye, gouge the eyeball out, pop the eardrum type of shame event for Zelensky if Kherson falls. Big problems. So they're going to have to shove something down there fast to try to stop this. And more likely that's going to get pulled from the defense of at least Arachava, maybe Zaporozhye itself, or Gulay Polye, one of those. I mean, you've got to pull them from somewhere. You can't exactly clone them. But that's the reality of it right now. That's the reality of it. And that's what you call putting your enemy on the horns of a dilemma. He's got multiple choices. They're all bad and horrible. And he's got to choose which one is less horrible. Try to save some of the day, but not all of the day. So we've got terror attacks. But these are really odd attacks in this case. You know, there has been rumors and rumors of rumors and whispers of rumors of rumors. There's been declarative statements from the Russian side that the Polish government is working directly with the SBU, that they've brought in Russians and Belarusians who are Nazis and working in or serving in these various Nazi brigades for the Ukrainians. And they're going to conduct a Black Swan event in Poland. So they're going to conduct a terror attack. Blame it on the Russian government, blame it on the Belarusian government. Probably they're not going to do something like a mass casualty effect, but they may. More likely be something toward industrial. Maybe. But that all depends on how desperate they are. And Poland is not just aware, but helping plan this, because the Polish government wants war. But the people of Poland don't want war. So they've got to do something. But interestingly enough, we've had two interesting incidents. They haven't quite poked the finger at Russia yet. I'm sure they will, on the level of Nord Stream. Hungary's main refinery is burning. Something blew up. The refinery shut down, obviously. Hungary's already said that we've got enough fuel for now. We're going to be doing a thorough and timely investigation. Now, this refinery is owned by a Hungarian company, but it processes Russian oil. Yeah. And then we got a hit in Romania. Something blew up in a Lukoil refinery, a Russian refinery in Romania that's still working. That also processes Russian oil for Romania into fuel. And both happened within a day of each other? Hmm. Who's got the most benefit from this? Yeah, we've got two parties in this case. We've got Ukraine, Zelensky, and we've got Ursula von der Nutjob over in Brussels. They've got the most to gain out of this. Amazingly, they haven't quite poked the finger at Russia yet. Well, I'm sure that's going to probably be tomorrow or the day after. So yeah, so things are heating up. They have got to do something. Obviously, what we're seeing is the old Austro-Hungarian Empire, or the states, the successor states of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, that's breaking with Brussels and reasserting its internal geopolitical issues and desires, which Brussels obviously isn't taking too well. But the rest, they're very dead set on war. Do I think this kind of war, the Greeks would be in a revolution before going to fight the Russians? The Bulgarians probably too. The Croatians aren't exactly thrilled and dying in mass for Brussels. Turkey is probably not going to go into this fight. They're making too much money off keeping the Russian-Ukrainian conflict going, not participating in it. And then who? Portugal? Probably not. Spain? Maybe some kind of limited presence. Italy, we'll live and see, but Italy's not exactly much of a military power, A. And B, when most of your people are hungry by the third week, yeah, you've got issues. You've got serious economic issues. So it's going to be the French, through the French, Germans, Netherlands, Belgians, Brits, Scandinavians, and the pre-Baltic whoredoms, the little three whores. Oh, and Poland, of course. More likely the culprits. Not the U.S. The U.S. is going to be making money off of this, but they're not. They're not going to go fight. Today they're going to make money off of selling weapons. Tomorrow they're going to make money off of a new Marshall Plan. Once those countries that I mentioned get whacked, and whacked hard. Yeah, lots of money making opportunity right there. Selling credits, making percentages. Yeah, all that. What the U.S. loves. What the U.S. loves. So the U.S. government's still shut down, which is going to be interesting. Because, if it stays shut down for another 2-3 weeks, things are going to get really, really interesting. The old adage that most societies are 3 meals away from a revolution. I wouldn't really say that. It depends on the society, of course. Russians can survive a lot longer as a society without eating each other and turning on each other than 3 meals. And we'll scrape by. We've done it before. U.S., not so much so. Particularly considering if food stamps get cut. Yeah, the gangbangers' mamas are going to be in pain. And the gangbangers are going to be out in the streets. So I guarantee you there's going to be very interesting times if the food stamps, which are federal programs first and foremost, and or states with federal funding for those programs, if they get cut or halted. Going to be very, very interesting. Not pleasant, but interesting. And last of all is rare earths. Yes, we keep coming back to rare earths. Or again, rare earths are everywhere. So Trump, in his infinite wisdom and, mass declarations of how great he is and the best thing to ever happen, and this is going to be the best deal that anybody ever made a deal of, or the best deal of minerals, and it's going to be so cheap, rare earth will be $2 a pound, or a ton, whatever he said. And it may be, it's just going to be rare earth, unprocessed slag. Um, so he signs a deal with Australia. Australia is going to send them raw rare earths ore. There's catches to that if you go just a little bit deeper. But raw rare earths ore, U.S. has tons of it. The problem is not in the ore, it's in the processing of the ore. And just so you understand how some of this processing goes, there are three rare earths. I think that's 17 total that are produced out of red clay. And red clay or red mud, is a byproduct of aluminum production. Scandium, cerium, lantharium. Those can be chemically processed out of the red mud, which also has other metals in it, more mundane metals. So you need to set up a chemical processing. But to have those volumes that you need to have massive aluminum production. Now, China produces 40 million tons of aluminum a year. So, of course, it's the biggest producer. That's followed by India at 4.1 million tons, Russia at 4 million tons, Canada at 3 million tons, and the U.S. is at less than 1 million tons, which, by the way, is why the U.S. imports so much of that aluminum, particularly from Russia. And the slag that's left over from aluminum processing can go on to further bleaching, like hydroxide bleaching, to get these other elements out. Again, U.S. can't do it. Ficus, none, zero. In fact, China is like 97% of all rare earth manufacturing right now. The next big one up is Russia at 1%. And then everybody else kind of breaks down below that. Now, Russia's just what 1% is 2,600 tons of various rare earth magnets, which more or less satisfies a very large chunk of Russian needs, but not everything. Russia right now has a very aggressive investment program that's designed for full cycle manufacturing of all 17 rare earths, or not so rare earth minerals, into the magnets that Russian industry needs. So cut imports, import substitution, mercantilism at its finest. Produce what you can at home from your own resources and your own manufacturing capabilities and population. U.S. at this point produces nothing. I mean, just about zero. It is bringing a couple plants online, and it's hoping to, by 27, to produce about 1,000 tons. So half of Russian, almost a third of Russian manufacturing. Russian manufacturing is growing. So by 27, Russia will probably be producing maybe twice as much, or something close, maybe a third more than it's already producing. And the U.S. will be actually producing about a fourth of what Russia will be producing by that point. With the aim, and the U.S. has this aim of producing 100,000 tons. Why not 1,000,000 tons at this point? Why not, China produces 2,600 tons, 2,600 tons. But the U.S. is going to be making 100,000 tons someday in a not so near future. I mean, U.S. does not have an educated workforce for this. Let's begin with that. With the rate of illiteracy and semi-illiteracy, 53% if you combine both categories. Getting these plants in, first of all, again, three of these rare earth plant elements require major aluminum manufacturing because they're a byproduct of aluminum manufacturing. How much aluminum manufacturing is the U.S. going to grow to make this 100,000 or even 1,000 tons? Well, a good chunk of those. It's got to grow a lot of aluminum manufacturing. So this isn't just investment in processing of rare earths. You've got to invest in manufacturing aluminum and doing it to get the mud, to get the red mud that then you can process for further these three elements. And quite a few other elements are pretty much done the same way. So there are problems. There are obvious problems. So Trump buying in more and more rare earth, raw rare earths from Australia, Canada, the moon, isn't going to change anything. This is the same stupidity that Trump is going to give Argentina $20 billion in bailout to their agriculture industry as the U.S. agriculture industry is collapsing. So as ranchers are losing their heads, because there's quite a high suicide rate amongst these guys too, by the way, or at least they're losing their roofs. Trump is bailing out their competition in Argentina. America first, or somewhere like that. Or is it Argentina? Or is MAGA make Argentina great again? I think that's more like it in this case, don't you? So I mean, but then you get, I mean, you get the U.S. that makes demands on China, so China slaps them back. The U.S. makes more demands on China. U.S. is playing, it's playing not with a full deck of cards. It's got only one oar in the water. Upstairs there's a breeze going on, a hurricane strength breeze. And now the U.S. has decided to remove one more of our great industrial competitors. They've gone to Japan and said, cut all procurement of Russian energy. Just so you understand, Japan doesn't buy just gas and oil products from Russia. I mean, for God's sakes, we've got a cable going from Russia to Japan and delivering electricity straight there. We've got one of those massive undersea cables. We are literally selling them direct electricity. So by all means, cut it all. Let's watch Japan sink. And then let's see what Japan does with that. I mean, this is the most indebted country in the world in world history. They make the U.S. look like a lightweight. I mean, they're running deficits of 200, or debt. They're holding a debt load. Let me phrase that, not deficits. They're holding a debt load of over 220% of GDP. Yeah, that's right, there, baby. Um, I mean, go for it by all means. At which point do you grow a backbone? Well, we know who the Europeans aren't, but you never know. You never know. It's a crazy world, man. It is a crazy world. It's hard to believe half the crap that's happening, but it's happening. So God bless. Have fun for the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Share. Click to sign up. And if you can support my work financially, by all means, please, I will be most appreciative. A Bitcoin wallet is in the description. See, this time I didn't forget it. But by all means, at least sign up if you haven't signed up. All right. Take care. I hope you enjoy all the videos. And check out if you haven't already, check out the interview with Father Bell. Very interesting interview. And I hope you enjoy it. Cheers.